So we'll be meditating on the fifth verse, which is I thirst. Now, coming on to this point, at the moment we will see Jesus beaten, he is abandoned, his broken body is hanging on the cross. If you imagine that scene, they have stripped him, they have put him up over there in between people who are actually standing below him and continuously mocking him. He's lost enough blood at the moment. There is blood all over his body pouring from his head, from the flogging, from the nails on his hands, from his legs. So by this time, Jesus is completely dehydrated. And at that time, we see a very human, a very basic plea from him, that is, I thirst. A two-letter word, one of it is an alphabet. But nevertheless, even though it is two letters, it is from Jesus, so it has enough weight and enough meaning. And we are going to spend some time looking into what it actually meant back then and right now. Now, we see Jesus said, I thirst, and immediately what happens? A Roman soldier comes in, he dips a hyssop or a sponge in wine, sour wine or vinegar, and he gives it to Jesus, and he drinks it. Now, if you read the Bible, this isn't the first time Jesus was offered a drink. From the time he was captured, from the time he was arrested, this wasn't the first time. The first time we will see Jesus offered this drink was before he was crucified. He was offered a drink right after he reaches Golgotha. Before he was put to cross, he was offered a drink. That we will see in Matthew 27:34.
There they offered Jesus wine mixed with a bitter substance, but after tasting it, he would not drink it.
Okay. The bitter, if you read the King James Version, it says they gave him sour wine mingled with gall. Okay. Gall is basically made out of myrrh. Okay. It's, as you said, it's a bitter substance. It's basically a herb. When it was mixed with wine, it was given as a sedative. Okay. When for people who were in a lot of pain, okay, it was given to them. Especially it was given to people who were sentenced to death by crucifixion to take as a small shortcut to take a little bit of pain out of their suffering. So when I read this, obviously since it's it takes away the pain, it may be an act of mercy. So I immediately went searching for who gave him this drink. Okay, so I came up with two answers. One of the answers I found was there were two sets of people. One set of people saying it was given by the noble Jewish women, because back then there was a tradition where the noble women, they used to serve this wine to people who are who were supposed to be crucified as an act of mercy to numb their pain. The second one, what I found is it was the Roman soldiers who gave him that drink. But nevertheless, okay, wine mixed with gall, okay, was given as an act of mercy. It doesn't matter who gave it to him, it was given, it's there in the scripture. What's important is, what did Jesus do with it? He did not take it. He tasted it, but he did not drink it. He rejected the drink. Okay. So we have to concentrate on why Jesus did not drink over there. The reason he did not take that particular wine is because it would take the pain away. And Jesus did not want the pain to be reduced. He wanted to endure the complete suffering, the complete pain, so that we get redeemed. He wanted to take all that suffering so that we don't suffer. Now the second time and last time we would see Jesus was offered wine would be, that would be in John 19:29 when he says, I thirst. But rather than looking at John, let's go back to Mark. Let's go to Mark 15. Okay, if you see Mark 15, can somebody read from 34 to 35?
At 3 o'clock, Jesus cried out with a loud shout, Eloi, Eloi, lema sabachthani, which means, my God, why did you abandon me? Some of the people there heard him and said, listen, he's calling for Elijah. One of them ran up with a sponge, soaked it in cheap wine, and put it on the end of a stick. Then he held it up to Jesus' lips and said, Wait, let us see if Elijah is coming to bring him down from the cross.
Okay, so here what happens is, so it's the same thing. Jesus cries, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani, which we heard what it meant. Now after that, the people standing over there, the bystanders, they start mocking Jesus, saying that, look, he's calling Elijah. So it's the same story again. The Roman soldier, he goes, he takes the sponge, dips it in the wine, and he gives it to Jesus. Now here, what we will see is, here what we have to observe is what was he offered exactly. Okay, here it is written he was given sour wine or vinegar in some places. Sour wine, when it was translated from Greek, the actual Greek word was oxus, oxos, oxus. Okay, and oxus over here, it used to be a cheap wine. Okay, it was actually it was a kind of sharp vinegar kind of a wine. Okay, this was it was not a wealthy person's drink. It was drunk by the common people, working class people, to quench their thirst. Okay, it would it was a refreshing drink basically. So when we see that this wine was kept over there, probably it wasn't kept even for the people hanging on the cross. It might have been there for the Roman soldiers to quench their thirst, and not for the people hanging on the cross. So what we see is Jesus was offered this drink, but this time around, unlike the first time, he does not reject it, rather he takes that wine, he drinks it. So we have to see why the first time he rejected and the second time he drank the wine. For the first time, there was something mixed with it. There was gall or myrrh mixed with it, but this time around there was nothing mixed in the wine, which means it would not take away any pain or suffering from him. Okay, and the second most important reason what I found was, see, I found the clues in Mark 15 itself. See, when in Mark 15, when Jesus says, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani, okay, what do people do? They mock him. They say, look, he's calling Elijah. If we see these two parts, there is no connection between my God, why have you forsaken me? And he's calling Elijah. Okay, so probably the people who were standing there at that point of time, we have to observe, we have to think about one thing. Jesus was completely dehydrated. His throat is very dry. He's lost a lot of blood. He is struggling. Every breath is a challenge. Every word he spoke is a challenge. We say he spoke 7 verses, but the 7 verses he spoke, he might have spoken that with so much difficulty. It might have taken so much effort from him to speak each and every single word on the cross. Okay? At that particular time, when he says, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani, probably the people standing away, they could not hear him well. They might, instead of hearing Eloi, they might have heard Elijah. Okay, so it may be, they might have heard wrong. But what Jesus was about to say next after I thirst was very, very crucial, very important for the entire mankind. Okay, it was very important. So Jesus did not want anybody to misinterpret anything else that he says. He wanted to, speak out loudly next. Whatever came next, both the verses were very important. Okay, so at that particular point of time came that human plea of I thirst, where he was given this drink of sour wine. So when he was offered this, when I say he drank it, it does not mean that he drank it, because it was given in a sponge. So normally when the sponge is kept over there, little bit only will go inside. It's not like he will get a mouthful of that drink. So whatever he got, little bit, that was enough to wet his tongue, wet his throat, so that he could speak after that. He could say whatever he wanted to say next. And what he said next was, it is done. Everything was done. Whatever he was supposed to do is done. We have got our redemption. His part is done. Now, when we see the 7 verses, all the 7 verses have something in common. All the 7 verses had to tie into the Old Testament somewhere. Okay, it had to link to that to show Jesus divinity. It had to show that Jesus was indeed the Son of God. We see this many times, especially we see this soon after Jesus was, he was arrested. Okay, Jesus wasn't talking much. He never spoke much. He spoke very little. I think the first time he spoke was when they took him to the high priest. When they took him to the high priest and they started questioning him, they started getting false witnesses. They started testifying falsely against him. At that time, the high priest, he stands up. He asks Jesus, "Are you God?" And at that time, Jesus says, "I am the Son of Man." Over there, Son of Man means I am God. That's why the reference was Daniel. I think Daniel 7:13. He was quoting that particular verse because that Son of Man meant Son of God. Okay, so at that particular time, the priest gets really mad. He tears his robe. So there were many instances, many passages from the Old Testament that directly link to the crucifixion of Jesus. So even if you see some of the examples, I'll go very fast now. There is Isaiah 53. If you read that chapter with the knowledge of who Jesus was, how he died, it beautifully explains, it's a testimony to who Jesus was. He was indeed God. Even if you go to Psalm 22, which he quoted a bit earlier, starts with Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani. Entire chapter beautifully describes what happened to Jesus, and this was written hundreds of years before Jesus was born. So there would be no doubt that all of this was spoken about Jesus. And for a Jewish man at that time, standing over there, listening to all of this, and remember, for Jews, the Psalms that was written by King David, all of these were songs they used to sing in their day-to-day life. They used to sing it every single day from their childhood. All of this was by heart for them. So when Jesus was saying these words, when they were seeing what was happening to Jesus, if there were people who were still following Jesus. When they connected to that, imagine the awe they were in. Imagine it would have been so much grand for them to see that, that this man hanging over there is indeed the Son of God. It might be like a giant church bell ringing onto their ears, calling them in, telling that this man over there, he is the Son of Man, he is the Lamb of God, he is the Son of God, he is the Messiah. And this church bell that started ringing back then, it is still ringing this day. It is still ringing, calling on to the believers, non-believers, each and every single person. All the 7 verses, it is proving that this is Jesus. And Jesus is calling each and every person. He's testifying that he himself is the Son of Man. He is the Son of God. Come to me, each and every single one of you, come to me with all the problems you have, all the sufferings you have. Don't be ashamed. Come to me with your sickness. If you want healing, if you thirst for healing, I am here. Come to me. If you are looking for jobs, if you are in debt, come to me if that's your thirst. I will provide you. If you are hungry, if you are thirsty, come to me. I will quench your thirst. The bell is still ringing. He's still calling each and every single person. Now, if we read the Bible, normally we think it's a story of redemption, which it is. But Bible is also a story of love. Story of love between God and His children. But what makes a perfect love story is when both the sides equally love each other. But unfortunately, our relationship with God is not a perfect love story. From one side, we have agape love, never ending love, never dying love. On the other side, He gets us our love. Our love is laced with desires. Our love is laced with sin. So, God's love in comparison to that is amazing. For God so loved the world, so He sent His only begotten Son, so that we can have everlasting life. Coming to a finish, as I close my message, I will sing the song, but as I sing the song and as you leave from here, as I finish, I would like all of you to leave with a thought. He came for us, He lived for us, He died for us, He did everything that is required, that is needed for us. He did everything that would quench our thirst. But what about His thirst? How long does He have to thirst for our love? Till when does He really have to say, I thirst? One day I came to Him, I was so thirsty. I asked for water, my throat was so dry. He gave me water that I had never dreamed of. But for that water, my Lord had to die. He said, I thirst, yet He made the rivers. He said, I thirst, yet He made the sea. I thirst, said the King of the angels, and in His thirst He gave water to me. Now there's a river that flows as clear as crystal. It came from God's throne above, and like a river it wells up inside me, bringing mercy and life-giving love. He said, I thirst, yet He made the river. He said, I thirst, yet He made the sea. I thirst, said the King of the angels. In His great thirst, He gave water to me.